All right, real quick. Avoid steroids, whether it be for really for bodybuilding. I'm really talking about guys who want to use steroids to build big muscles. Don't. It's really that simple. Don't. This right here, this is one of the most depressing Instagram profiles on the internet. And this video, one of the most depressing videos you could watch in your life. Because this man is the former Mr. Olympia. You know Mr. Olympia, where those big guys get up there and they flex these big muscles, these big giant muscles, and they compete every year. This guy won 8 times. He won that competition 8 times, and it's IFBB. That's the top. That's the very top of the bodybuilding world. So you're in the #1 organization, bodybuilding organization, the same organization that Arnold Schwarzenegger competed in, Lee Haney competed in. You're on the biggest stage possible, and you won it 8 different times. You must have had an incredible physique, right? But were you healthy? Were you healthy? Was your insides okay? His was not. And if you are taking steroids to gain muscle, yours ain't either. Might not be where his at, but you're on that path. There is no reason to get this big unless you're just flipping insecure like out of this world. I'm sorry. There's some insecurity there. I can understand you wanting to work out and become muscular. I'm all for that. But to get unrealistically big, the human body is not even designed to be this big. That's why when they come off these steroids, they shrink right back down to their natural size. Human body was not designed to be this big. What am I talking about? Your muscles are too big. Your heart is not designed to supply muscle, to supply blood for that much muscle. And so the heart grows, gets bigger and weaker. And they end up with a weak heart. They be in their 40s with the heart of an 80-year-old man. Damaged liver, kidneys. It's a wrap for their organs. Your best option is to stay natural. Stay natural. And if you ask me, don't lift super heavy. Don't lift super heavy. If you want to lift heavy, maybe once a month. And really, that's kind of pushing it. Maybe once every 2 months. Go heavy, max out, and all that kind of stuff. But that's not something that you want to do long term. As a man who's been working out with weights for some well over 2 decades, well over 20 years now. The best thing you could do is to not use any weights. Push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and squats, but not the traditional squats. Don't use any weights. And when I say squat, all I'm talking about, sit down in a chair and stand back up. Repeat. Do that. Oh, I don't care how many times you got to do it. Keep doing them until you are in pain. And that's your set. Because your legs is your biggest muscle group in your body. If you can hit your legs with high reps, you're going to get results. I remember I built my leg muscles from riding a bike. And this is when I was a teenager. I rode a bike every day. And I ended up with bigger legs than my peers. And I didn't do any squats. All you have to do is stimulate the muscles, make them work. But when you put unrealistically heavy weight, like this nonsense, I get so sick of this. 600 pounds? You want to squat 600, 500 pounds? That's not normal. That's not natural. Human body is just not designed to manage that much weight. So what happens, they end up damaging their joints, their cartilage, their ligaments, be shot. Now listen to that. Cartilage, joints, ligaments. That's on top of the organ failures, the heart problems. That's on top of the liver problems, the kidney problems. I'm telling you, steroids tear your joints up. They tear your joints. All these steroid users will tell you they destroy your joints, your ligaments, everything is shot. All for what? So that you can be bigger? That's the dumbest. Size is not what matters. Oh, I need men, please, if you don't take nothing else away from what I say here, take this. Size is not what matters. It's quality. It's quality. Ever since I was a weightlifter, the whole time I was a weightlifter, I always lifted heavy weights. I was young. That's just how I got into weightlifting. The guys who brought me into it had me lifting ridiculously heavy weight. For me to only be shown up by, okay, I'm like 180 pounds. And I have this 147-pound guy look far better than me. I'm standing here like 40 pounds heavier than this guy. And I'm telling you, I was ashamed to flex my biceps next to his. I'm dead serious. I would not do it. I wouldn't flex nothing next to this guy. He was 147 pounds. I'm standing there 180 something. Even though my arms were bigger, his looked better. He had better peaks, better separation, better definition. That's what matters. You don't need size to achieve that. When you are getting, bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually you start getting unhealthier and unhealthier and unhealthier. And I'm only talking about steroids. If you're not on steroids, you really don't have nothing to worry about. But if you're not on steroids, you still don't want to be lifting ridiculously heavy weight, especially not every single workout. If you ask me, don't ever, ever, ever lift heavy weights. This guy that I'm telling y'all about, who made me feel embarrassed to flex, this dude never lift weights. And I know for a fact that he never lift weights because he had just gotten out of prison. And weights were not allowed. All you could do there is body weight exercises. And I'm telling you, this guy embarrassed me. I wouldn't even flex my arm next to him. So I wouldn't take my shirt off next to this guy. This dude lifted up his shirt, his abs. I'm telling you now, I had never seen nothing like this before in my life in person. Abs like that in my life. He looked like the Incredible Hulk. No weights. So, in my opinion, that's what everybody should do. Body weight exercises is joint friendly, ligament. You don't want to end up like this. Look at these two guys. They're still relatively young. Ronnie Coleman, I think he might be in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. Let me look at how old is 61 years old. Now, believe it or not, there are a lot of men in this world who will call Ronnie Coleman a young man. Those older guys in their 80s, they will call 61 a young man. Ronnie should still be walking. He shouldn't be in a wheelchair. This guy should not be in a wheelchair. They're in wheelchairs. Not only that, when you get on steroids, this is the worst part about being on steroids. When you get on steroids, what you find is that these people are told to eat an enormous amount of calories. And what happens is these bodybuilders, they eat like 5 or 6 meals a day. Protein in each meal, usually with, rice or something like that. But they eat a lot of food, and what happens is their stomach starts to become distended. Ronnie Coleman back in the day had one of the smallest waists you would ever see. And he destroyed his body with them stupid steroids. And remember, steroids cause your insides to become inflamed. Steroids causes everything to grow, not just your muscles. All your organs, internal organs and all that stuff grows too, and it destroys your body. You see how small his waist was back in 1991? Back before he started with the heavy steroid use. Let me see if I can get it better. Better. Yeah, y'all can see that. Y'all can see that pretty good. Here's another. This is when 1991. Before he completely destroyed his body. Now, a lot of people think that he was already on steroids right here. And I wouldn't doubt it. But if he were natural, I wouldn't doubt that either. There are some dudes, man, with some crazy, freaky, natural genetics, dude. I've been seeing them my whole life. Some of those dudes, muscular before they even started lifting weights. I'm telling you, it's a lot of dudes like that, man, where they got bodybuilder looking muscles and ain't never touched a weight a day in their life. They just got everything free. So when they do start touching weights without even taking steroids, they look like a steroid user. There's a lot of people in this world like that. And I definitely believe Ronnie Coleman was one of them. Without a single doubt, he was one of them. But he destroyed his body. Now, he had a lot of spinal injuries, destroyed his body. He had to come off the steroids. He was getting old and all that. And after he came off steroids, what did you notice? He still had a distended abdomen. Because all that food you eat when you're on steroids causes your abdominal walls to distend. Like your internal abs. Like you have internal ab muscles and external ab muscles. It causes everything to blow up. And your organ stomach. Your stomach gets bigger. So you getting on steroids, you end up with a permanent pot belly. You end up with a pot belly that's permanent. You can't get rid of it. You can never have that slim waistline that you once have. And let me tell you something, all you men and you women, anybody listening to me, why I put so much emphasis on the waistline, because that is the life of men. Your waistline tells whether or not you are really a man. When a man starts to have heart problems, what do you see? He starts to accumulate fat where? In his lower abs and love handles. That's the worst place for a man. You do not want to accumulate fat there. You don't want to accumulate fat there. It is immediately a sign that your heart is in danger. And the more fat you accumulate, the more danger your heart is in. The slimmer your waist is, that is a strong sign you are a healthy man, good testosterone. So it's important to take care of your waistline. Do not eat excessively. You don't need to. This guy that I told, I said he came out of prison, right? He wasn't getting no protein shakes in prison. He wasn't getting no creatine in prison. He wasn't getting none of them fancy supplements that y'all down every day, all day in prison. In fact, he wasn't even getting 100 grams of protein every day. I don't even think he was getting, I'd be surprised if he was even getting 75 grams. Probably getting more like 50 grams. In prison, those little prison foods, they ain't eat no food. So I used to be knee deep into the bodybuilding community. Now I hate it. Now I hate it. Because I'm exclusively talking about steroid-aided bodybuilding. Because that's really what everybody is into. When you talking about bodybuilding, ain't nobody into no natural bodybuilding. And let me just say for the record, no disrespect, Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman is the best Mr. Olympia ever. He won 8, which is more than any other Olympia, but he should have won more. He was always better than Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates had a horrible physique. He had a big, fat, square torso. Sergio Oliva said he had a stomach like a cow and no arms. And that's exactly the truth. The man had no arms whatsoever. And he looked progressively worse and worse towards the end of his career. Ronnie was always better than. So even winning 8 Mr. Olympias, more than any other Olympia, Ronnie Coleman was still downplayed by the organization. And Dorian Yates was privileged. He should not have ever won Mr. Olympia, not even once. He was always one of the worst competitors. Same with Jay Cutler. One of the most horrible, one of the most uncomfortable physiques to lay eyes on. Jay Cutler and Dorian Yates. So, but I don't care. I don't care. Especially if you're naturally gifted to begin with. If you get on steroids, man, you are the definition of stupid. You gonna cut your life short. All for what? And on top of that, even worse than that, when you're on those steroids, you can't have sex. Oh yeah, you heard me right. Because the steroids shut your testosterone off. Okay, let me put it like this. Men, don't ever play with your testosterone. Don't ever play with your hormones. Don't ever do nothing that causes your testosterone to shut off. Because these dudes never fully recover. Their testicles shrink to the size of sunflower seeds. And they usually never return to their normal or original size. These bodybuilders are all over the internet confessing to that. Why would you want to sacrifice your sex life as a man? I would never. Give me the flat arms. Give me the 160 pound, 6'1" body that I have. I'll take that any day and have a active sex drive over a big, sweaty, heavy breathing, hulky, bulked up dude that can't get it up. And if you do manage to get it up, big guy, you can't keep it up. That is the worst kind of experience for a man. You got all them big muscles and you fail to be a man when it matters most. No, thank you. I'll keep my little normal looking body and blow backs out. Well into my 70s. Man, and these bodybuilders, as far as them being sexually active in their later years, you can forget about it. That is an absolute, in fact, after 40, that is a wrap. But if you're natural, man, please. I'm going to be well into my 70s, still getting busy. I'll take that life because remember, I'm going to still be looking good. And fellas, don't worry. You can develop plenty of muscle, size naturally. Don't ever worry about not being big enough. Size, trust me, I'm speaking as a man who felt little next to smaller men. All of you small guys out there who thought that your small bicep looked good and that's all that mattered, and I'm happy. It might be small, I might be 135 pounds, but it looked good and I'm happy. To all of you small guys, you're right. You're right. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. I'm telling you now, I will swap physiques with a 140-pound man right now as I speak. The most important thing is that you're healthy. Forget about all these big, unnatural looking muscles, man. You, what are you doing? And you're not scaring nobody. Guys who are really trained in fighting, they're not scared of these big hulking dudes. They know you don't have no stamina and you really don't have any agility or anything like that. If they're trained in martial arts and they're also, weight training, they're going to whoop you. Stop thinking that bigger means you can beat up more people. No. You're actually making it harder to beat up other people. Getting that big. Okay, so you're not scaring people by getting that big. So, and you're not blowing backs out. You ain't some Superman in the bedroom. So what's the point? Just some cheap, worthless attention from people who don't know you and don't care nothing about you? And for you to suffer health-wise in your later years when you should be coasting. See, right now, I'm in my coasting years as a result of being natural. When you're a natural weightlifter, your 40s, 50s, and 60s are going to be way easier than those who are not taking care of themselves. And when you look at the steroid users, the big, giant, over bulked up dudes, look at them in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Ask yourself, do you want to? I know a lot of people think to themselves, well, when I'm in my 50s and 60s, I won't care what I look like. You're wrong. Yeah, you will. Because your 50s going to be here in no time. Before you know it, you're going to be 48, 45, staring 50 right down the throat. And you're going to want to look good. You're always going to want to look good as long as you're on this earth. Steroids ain't it, man. Steroids ain't it. Leave that stuff alone. It's too dangerous and expensive anyways. After that stuff shuts your testosterone off, you can't have sex. And after you get off that stuff, you still can't have sex. Do you know what you have to do? You have to, because that steroids is testosterone. It's like testosterone. That's why your body shuts your natural testosterone off. It's like, I don't need it. We have some external testosterone coming in. So what happens is, after you stop taking those steroids, guess what? Your natural testosterone is still shut off. Uh-oh. So you know what happens now? Because see, your testosterone has been shut off. So you know what's happening now? You ain't got nothing but estrogen in your body. Uh-oh. Right now, your estrogen is higher than your testosterone. I'm talking about these bodybuilders right after they come off of a steroid cycle. So you're basically a woman. And that's why so many of these bodybuilders grow breasts. They grow literal breasts. Some of them have milk coming out their nipples. It's because their estrogen is so high. So what they have to do then is get what's called a SERM. And what it does, it reduces their estrogen. Now they have to get on another drug to bring their estrogen down and try to bring their natural testosterone back up. See, the problem is you throwing your hormones out of whack, they will never go back to being normal, the way they were before you start messing around with them. And you're just going to jack your whole body up. You're going to end up looking like a deformed, inbred mutant by the time you're 40 years old, and you're going to ruin your life. It ain't cool to be vibrant and attractive only when you're young. Teens, 20s, 30s. And then by the time you hit 40, you all falling apart, you raggedy. That ain't cool. I don't know about y'all, but in my world, 40 ain't old. 50 ain't even that old. See? And I'm going to be taking care of my body as long as I'm on this earth. With steroids, man, the obsession with big muscles is easy to fall into that trap. But I'm telling you now, quality beats quantity. It does. Look at some of these smaller guys. Look at them. They look the same as the bigger guys. A lot of times you can't tell the difference because it's quality that matters. Shoot for quality and shoot for what you have naturally. Maximize what you have naturally. Don't try to shoot or attain for nothing that you don't have. Do not sit up here looking at these other bodybuilders thinking that you could build arms like that. No, you can't. If you don't have it naturally, genetically, you ain't gonna ever get it no other kind of way. But most importantly, take care of your waistline. I would lose all the muscle I've gained over the years for a slim waistline if I didn't have a slim waistline. I would give anything up for a slim waistline. If you don't have nothing else, let me tell you something. The best physique you could possibly ask for. If you're skinny, you shouldn't even care about being skinny. You should just be happy you got a slim waistline. And if you're already slim or skinny and you got a slim waistline, that's the best base as to be a weightlifter. Naturally. All right, so go do your push-ups, pull-ups. Stay away from the weights. I'm telling you, that's the best way. That's the best way. Any other way, you're going to break something, going to break down. By the time you're 40, you're going to be in and out of hospital because you're going to be dealing with injuries. That's another thing with these weightlifters, these bodybuilders. They stay in hospitals, tearing this, ripping that. They stay with injuries. How are you supposed to be in health and fitness and you're constantly being injured and you about to die by the time you're 40, 50 years old? No, it's not a health industry. That's what I really want to emphasize. The bodybuilding industry is not a health industry. It's really a toxic industry. Yeah, that Larry Wills guy, dude's an idiot. That whole bodybuilding culture, it's dangerous. You see, they look at these guys, the human body, when you pump it full of steroids, it could look freaky and crazy, but that's not how we were designed to look. We were not designed to look like that. Accept it. Accept it. If you can't accept it, that's the height of insecurity. And ain't nothing lower than an insecure man. And I will leave it there.